Welcome back!
Back at it again! We did this last year. I can't believe it's been a year since our college ranking.
Damn.
Damn.
And a lot, but not a lot has changed.
No, not really. There's only two of us.
Yes.
There was like, how many of us did, what was 6 of us
There
already
were,
did?
yes. 1, 2, 6.
There's a few
two.
cameos with
Yeah.
Now it's just, last two that survived. Oh, and we got
A
a
third
dog
member
joining us.
was meant to be here, but we got a new replacement.
This is the replacement. Alright, which show would you like to talk about first?
Let's go with... What's Break a Sweat?
That is the film I did, actually, over the
Oh,
summer.
okay.
So, I can talk about that real quick.
Okay.
So, it was originally meant to be... was supposed to film it?
Oh, it was that one?
Yeah, and he couldn't make it. He couldn't do the filming because of work, so he reached out and was like, "Is anyone free over the Easter holidays to film?" And I was like, "I'm not doing anything. I'd like some more experience filming. Sure, why not? I can film."
Yeah.
He was in this like student accommodation, so the student hadn't moved in yet, so he wasn't home. And there were, oh my days, there were 6 of us in a room. We had this huge lamp, right? It got so hot that they had to move it with oven gloves. So they wanted to touch it or adjust it. 6 of us in this room, boiling hot. We have a window that opens about this much because of safety.
Yeah.
No fans. We had to turn the fridge off. Because it caused too much noise for the sound man. I was there absolutely sweating because I decided my costume was going to be a jumper. Regretted that decision. Joggers and t-shirt and a jumper. And then the film was about like, you know those videos of like people eating? And they just have a huge bunch of food and they just eat it all? Mukbang, that's it. So it was about a YouTuber and he doesn't know what he wants to do, so he's tried a bunch of stuff. And then he tries mukbang videos.
Oh, no.
Yes.
How was the food?
I loved every part of filming except for the script. Because I didn't enjoy eating that food. We had jam and jellies. A delicious line of jams and jellies.
Jams and jellies.
Anyway, and I had to eat it with a bunch of food. So I had to eat it with pretzels, cupcakes. There was a bit where I dunked a lemon cake slice into the jam and then just shoved the whole thing into my mouth. I had to, cold lasagna.
Lovely.
With jam.
Did they not? Oh, that's a horrible combo.
Yeah, I had to eat cold mash, frozen peas with jam. I remember one bit, and the sound guy, I feel so sorry for that sound guy because he was getting ASMR of all of this.
ASMR treat.
Yeah. They told me to be as disgusting as possible when eating. And I was just there. All the noises, the jelly. Yeah. There was one bit where I felt my tummy gurgle, and I just spat while I was chewing out, and I was like, if I had chewed that for any longer, I would have thrown up. It was disgusting. It was, the eating bit was not good. I loved working with the people.
Yeah.
The camera girl was really fun. The director was quite nice, and I was trying my best to body the role, and I had a bit of like makeup and whatnot. It was quite good, quite cool. But and I just watched the film today. They just sent it over to me today. Yeah, it was quite. It was like 8 minutes, and it was a week of filming.
Yeah.
So, 4 days of filming.
4 days of horror.
Mm. For an 8-minute film.
What did it cost?
Yeah, but you know, it was quite nice to be. I did enjoy working with them, despite the fact that I did not enjoy eating all that food.
Yes.
It put me off eating for like the entire time I was filming.
God.
I
I'm glad I didn't reply to that.
Yeah, you could have done that. I remember talking to Austin, and I was like, "Did you just say you couldn't do it because you didn't want it covered in jam and food?" I'm not quite sure where to rank it, to be honest.
Where should we put a relatively new board? I haven't seen it yet, so
I'm going to show you the film after.
Yes.
Don't eat food while watching it. That's my only advice. I'm just going to put it in like a solid mid-tier, C-tier, I think.
Yeah,
Probably.
I was looking at C indeed.
Yeah.
Let's do Dr. McTootie's Scent Emporium.
Dr. McTootie's Scent Emporium.
So, we were doing, was it called multimedia?
The multimedia exam, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Multimedia theatre.
And basically, we had to put up a play that was interactive for the audience. So you know how last year for H&D we did that murder mystery.
Yeah, Christmas murder mystery. Yeah.
Similar to that sort of scenario. Another group did do murder mystery. I would have liked to do another one.
Yeah, I remember watching it. Yeah.
I think if there was like a whole cast situation, then yeah, could have done a bigger murder mystery story. However, we were split into 3 different groups. Or was it 4? Yeah, 4. One of them was a wedding. Another was
It was a circus.
yes, and yeah, the murder mystery.
And then
There were 5 groups actually. Right, there was that one that was kind of set in like a hospital. I can't remember what it was about, but it sort of told the life of a character going through something.
Right, okay.
And then ours.
Just an FYI, I didn't pick this module. You had to pick a module, and I picked tech theatre, so I wasn't involved in the show.
Wrong choice. Ooh. Anyway, then our group, we did sort of like the idea was like an infomercial. You know, like those.
Yeah.
Basically, like flex tape. That was our inspiration, actually. And we named it Dr. McTootie's Scent Emporium, where we were trying to make a new fragrance line called. I believe it was called.
It was
Something something French. It was something French.
You've got the poster on your phone. When you
Oh yeah, I did.
It was on fringe. On friche.
Terry on Friche.
Terry on friche.
That was the one.
Because you're like Terry on fringe. On friche. On friche.
Oh yeah, I had to make a mistake. So yeah, there was
That's part of the script.
4 of us working on it.
Yeah.
Ended up being 3 in the end. 3 actors because one had to drop
One
out.
dropped out.
Basically, we told it was the story of it went. Basically giving a brief story of how the team of, or as we called it, the boffins of Dr. McTootie's Scent Emporium had to go out and find the ingredients for this new fragrance in exotic locations. So we had to go to like the Amazon rainforest or anywhere you can think. Kind of like some Willy Wonka, but for perfume fragrance.
Yeah, it was full of shenanigans and that.
And we managed to find the ingredients, but there's also another ingredient that was very heavy and would cause people to have hallucinations and get high. And basically, the story was that there was a mistake in the making of it, and we put the wrong ingredients in.
Berry.
So everyone got high as if the audience saw the hallucinations that we were seeing.
Yeah, I did enjoy that bit.
Yes, and then you also, towards like the last 2 days, helped out as well.
Yeah, so I come in ready to rehearse a show that we'll get to later in this podcast. And I didn't realize that our rehearsal week had been cancelled for a week of rehearsing for them because they had show weeks and whatnot on. And I was like, well, I'm here now. I might as well do some work on the show while I'm doing it. You know, just like some written work, doing some research. Anyway, so, and then I realized, and then, yeah, you were just like, hey, can you help us with the tech side of things? And I was like, sure. And yeah, so I just got dragged into your group.
Yeah.
Which was quite enjoyable.
It was fun to... The filming bits were good fun. And we put a lot of distortion into the edit, so there was a moment where I had to film an interview with Dr. McTooty, who played, of him telling about the new fragrance. We filmed in that little park area in Gloucester. That's to show footage of us going out into the wilderness to find these ingredients. So yeah, it was good fun to perform, and I mean,
the dance bit at the end when everyone was drugged up and they got everyone to dance.
We had to wear those latex animal masks.
Oh yeah,
those were a nightmare to perform in. You couldn't breathe in them. It was like the gas masks, only you could slightly breathe better. I mean, all in all, I think the problem with it was we spent too much time focusing on little sort of side quests at the beginning of the unit, not actually getting into the actual...
Yeah. That was kind of like individual as well, but we'll get to that later.
So I think that's really what let it down, was not enough time to get everything perfect. But I mean, it went rather well in the end, I think. Better than we thought we had originally thought, I think.
So where do you think it would go?
Ooh, I'm thinking B or C.
Well, you get the right to choose this one because it really was your show. I think a lot of people did enjoy it.
Put in B for now.
Put it in B for now, and then
Put in B.
Lie down there. Lie down. Stop eating grass. You get stuck in.
Bear with us.
Alright. What are we thinking now?
What's next? Let's do the funeral.
That was acting for camera.
Yes. A module that we all picked.
Alright.
Luckily for this unit, there was no written part. It was all practical.
Yes, it was
Which was
all
lovely.
practical.
Having come off the back of that, we had to do a essay about semiotics, which we never really knew before. Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
The funeral. What do you think about it?
I liked it. I think it was good fun to film. I mean, we were all working
Yeah.
together in the same group. We're all split into different groups so to be called in.
It was groups of 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if we work well together, that was good.
Mm.
And I think the only thing would have been maybe you and me being the brothers. I think gave base just we probably look more alike than.
Yeah.
But I was okay with playing that role. I can't remember. Robin. Robin was his name.
Yeah, you were Robin, I was Ash, and it was Jay.
Yeah.
I felt like a little bit too comfortable with the role of Ash. It felt just like you know, I feel like when it comes to the film and TV, I get the angry or depressed characters because I've been like purely acting for camera wise.
Mm.
The boss was a serious guy,
Yeah.
like very minimalistic facial expressions in Limpy. Tiberius was, angry mob boss. He had a lot more facial expressions, but he was still like the villain, so you get more anger. Then, of course, Break a Sweat. I had to very much just very
Misery.
very miserable. My character was.
Yeah.
He was going through like a midlife crisis. And then the funeral, and again, very deadpan, like quite angry, because he has issues with his father, and he really hates his dad. His father issues. He's got daddy issues. Can't have daddy issues without daddy. Yeah, I felt like I wasn't. I think I would have preferred to be like your character, just because.
I enjoyed the character, I think.
Yeah.
And I understood how he must have been feeling like, oof, just going to the unknown of this, introducing myself to the rest of the family. They don't know this, so maybe comes a shock. Also,
I really would have liked.
I think
to
some
see
of the grammar was a little bit.
The what?
The grammar.
Grammar. Oh,
Could have had some adjustments.
let's not be polite about it.
It wasn't exactly great to read out loud.
Yeah, the script. The line of let's not be polite about it was a bit of a
Yeah, I didn't quite understand.
like your monologue bits.
Oh gosh, it's fine. Just the back of my shirt is on fire. Yeah, that line I didn't always understand how to respond to that. So I'm not quite sure what it's supposed to mean. I don't know if it was meant to be like sarcastic, like let's not be polite about this, or.
I think the thing to react to was the comment before of him being like, "Yeah, we know." It's like, yeah.
Oh my god!
Don't melt yourself.
Everything's melting. I am not.
My dog has black fur and she's sitting right here in the sun. And I moved her into the shade and she comes back into the sun. It becomes a thing of we have to go inside so the dog don't overheat because she won't go inside alone. She likes to be with company. Anyway, yeah, the funeral. I did like the script and I wish it was a bit longer. I would have loved to see what happens
like
next.
a 20-minute short film would have been fine, I think.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe we could write the rest of the script.
Yeah.
Where are you putting it?
I'm thinking A or B. What about you?
Do you think it's the same or better than Scent Emporium?
Ooh. It's tricky. Because Centerpoint was fun for form. It was just, the behind the scenes of it took was quite.
Behind the scenes were a bit iffy, whereas out of camera, especially the unit, was like enjoyable all throughout.
Yeah. We'll put it in. We'll keep it in B.
Put it in B for now. What's next? Which one would you?
Backstage. What? Oh, that was the last.
So I want to save this one for last.
Yes.
Backstage. I can quickly talk about backstage.
Yes.
So,
I did want to come see that. It's just because it was Father's Day weekend.
You had plans.
Yep.
Yeah. I missed Father's Day. Was this? So backstage, I can quickly talk about backstage. So Matt chose to do multimedia, I didn't. I chose to do tech theatre, and this is the show I worked. So I didn't perform in it,
No.
but I worked on it. And tell you what, the module itself, because like when I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna do tech theatre, I was thinking I'm gonna learn how to program the lights and be a light technician or sound technician and learning how to do all the cues for the sound.
Yeah.
Nope. You learn how to be a stage manager. You and two other people, or then in my case it was one other person. You learn how you be a backstage team. One of you stage manager. Yeah. One of you is deputy stage manager, who basically they run all the scripts. And then assistant stage manager. So you got stage manager is in charge of running the show. They make sure everyone's in order. They assign the roles. They do as much as they can. They make everything. Yeah. Then you got deputy stage manager. They are the ones who are doing all the cueing. So they are writing down every movement every actor does in a scene. They have to write that down. They have to write down when every lighting change, every sound effect or music cue.
Write that down.
They're next to the director at all times, writing everything down. And then during the show, they're telling people, okay, and you're on now, music now, lights now. Originally, that was my role. Didn't want it. So before the show, I was like, can I please change it? And they were like, yeah, you can be stage manager. And then assistant stage manager does all the stuff. So they do all the prop making, getting the props.
Yeah.
Whatnot. Anyway, so yeah, backstage, I was not enjoying the tech theatre unit at all. Then
Let's talk about that. Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Oh, right. So
you want to get off your chest.
Yeah. Okay. So originally, backstage was not the play I was assigned to do. Originally, it was called another one called That Bird. Stupid Bird was the script, and we were with this director.
One of the lecturers.
Oh.
Azil.
Oh, Zil! I shall be calling them Zil from now on in this talk. So Zil comes up. We arrange a meeting. I email him saying, "Hey, we're your tech team. Can we arrange a meeting to organize? Talk about the show. Let me know about it, etc., etc."
As you usually do in it.
Yeah.
Did
not get an email response back. 2 days later, they talked to me and I'm like, yeah, I got your email. Oh, thanks for letting me know, by the way. An email back would have been nice, but okay. Yeah, let's arrange a meeting tomorrow, so-and-so. Okay, great. I got my audio recorder out. We went to the meeting. And I'm like, okay, let's talk about this show of yours, blah, blah, blah. So, what's the show? And they were like, okay, so the show's there's about 9 characters in the show. Oh no, what was it? There's about 6 characters in the show. And we got about 15 students. Okay.
So there was like what, 3 fleets of groups?
Yeah, so I was like, okay, so you're gonna have like
double casting.
Triple casting.
Nope.
we're going to have multiple characters on at the same time.
That's not.
So you're going to have 2 characters in the exact same costume, saying the exact same lines, in the exact same show. So, so we have actor A, B, and C all playing the same character. Actor A will come on for one scene, and then he'll come off, and then actor B will come on in the next scene playing the exact same character, then come off, and then in the next scene you might have character C come on, and then character B comes on during that same scene, and they're talking together, the same dialogue, because they're all the same character. Then C could come on, A can come on, and then you could have all 3 at the same time, being the exact same character, all saying the same lines at the same time. That's not going to get confusing at all.
No.
I'm thinking, oh my, look, I can't direct this. I can't. That was part of the job description. Do not direct. If they ask for input, say it, but you can't. I was like, okay, let me just deal with this. Okay. I was like, okay, fine. It's a creative decision. Maybe you only got 1 show, so so they have to do this. I was like, okay. How many shows do you have? Okay, so we have 3 shows.
Thank you.
What? You have 3 shows? You have 3 casts, and instead of doing 3 shows with 3 casts, where audiences will go to see, whichever cast they prefer, you're doing it all at the same time, 3 times. I'll let that sink in for you guys. Oh, I was like, okay. I was like, okay, when's the show? Oh, the show, I can't remember the show date. But it was like, oh, the show, let's say, the show's the 30th. The show's the 30th. I was like, okay. When's your next rehearsal? The 20th. Those weren't the exact dates, but there was 10 days to try. And I was like, that's not enough time. That's so not enough time. I was like, okay, we got that little time to do it. Oh my god, okay. So after the rehearsal, I was like, okay, fine. Can we, still during the meeting, I was like, okay, can we arrange a meeting before the 20th where we can talk about what we're going to do each rehearsal day so that we can properly get this organized, get this done, get this sorted so that, I'm not stressing and over panicking. Oh boy, did they not like that? The director was like, excuse me, princess. They were like, excuse me, you do not make the meetings. Yes, I do. It's my job description, by the way. It's my job to make meetings, and I would contact all the crew.
Aren't we supposed to have meetings?
It was like, you do not say when you have the meetings. I say when we have the meetings. You've got to stay in your job role, okay? I'm the director. You listen to me. And she was there putting me in my place. And I was like, I was doing my job. Like, I wasn't even saying we're having a meeting. I was like, I asked, can we have a meeting so we can and then she was going on and saying, like, my directing style is very unorthodox. I like to be spontaneous on each different day.
That's
And, I might...
it.
Yeah, and basically what she was saying is, I don't have a plan. I do not have a plan. I do not know how I'm going to do this.
I have part of a plan.
I have 12%. 12%? It's a real pathetic laugh of my life because that is not. So yeah, then. Oh my days. Then I started talking. I was like, next day, not even rehearsal. I'm in lesson now. I'm in lesson doing work on a show.
I saw this.
During the rehearsal, during the meeting, sorry, I asked, okay, for our grade, we need a copy of the script so we can analyze it and talk about it and whatnot. Like, can we have a copy of the script? You've given actors the copy of the script. Can we have a copy of the script too? And she was like, absolutely, you can. Yes. Oh, brilliant. I'm seeing you Friday. I'll print them out. I'm giving you Friday. I was like, excellent. Thank you.
Back as a team.
Excellent. Friday comes. Friday's coming along. I'm doing very important and very stressful video editing work on the show that I'm performing.
We hated Fridays.
Doing a bunch of tech theatre stuff. And then she comes up to me during this is my rehearsal time. You know, this is time I'm creating my show.
It's entirely different.
And she goes, okay, so about the script. I cannot print you out a copy due to copyright reasons. However, I do happen to have 2 copies on me. I have just returned them to the library. If you don't mind going in your break or your lunchtime to go pick them up, that would be very
Why not
useful.
just bring them here first?
Right. Let's unpack that sentence bit by bit. I cannot give you the script due to copyright reasons.
Oh, why?
What the actual
What does
hell?
that even mean?
Alright, something that pointed out to me that I didn't even think of. If we can't get copies of the scripts, what the hell are the actors using? What are the actors using?
Well, couldn't you just photocopy one of theirs?
Yeah,
Job
and then it
done.
was like, yeah,
Same script.
yeah, it's just like, no. If you're worried about copyright strikes, then why are you doing this play if you don't have permission to do this play? If you do have permission to do this play, then you have no problem photocopying a copy of the script for us. Second thing, I have 2 book copies, she said. I have 2 book copies. A book copy does not allow me to write on it and analyze it. I can't write and analyze a book copy. I need a printed copy so I can write on it, I can analyze it, and do research, I can do whatever on it. That's what I need. Right? Not helpful. Third of all, I've just returned it to the library. So you had the copy, and instead of handing it to me, you took it back to just that day, took it to the library instead of giving it to me. Why?
I mean, the title of the play does fit the
director.
stupid word.
And then, fourth and finally, in your lunchtime, in my lunchtime, in my break, can I go and collect the script from the library? Where in the library? No, I don't know.
No one knows.
I don't know. She gave me vague instructions of where they might be if a member of the library hadn't touched them and put them back. I asked for a copy of the script, and she gave me an errand. I did not pick up that script. I had a working lunch because I was still doing video editing on my own show. I video edited through my lunchtime while eating, and then after lunch she comes and is like, "Oh, did you get a copy of the script?"
No.
I just went, "No, I did not. I was working on my show on my lunchtime." She was like, "Oh, I'm really scared that they might leave. Could you pick up a copy before you leave? Could you pick them up?" I did not pick them up. I asked her to do one thing. One job. That's all I asked. One thing. Couldn't even do that. Come in the Tuesday, I get a word from my my lecturer on tech theatre. It's like, I had a complaint from the director about you in particular, about your attitude or something like that. And we were like, so we're going to move you to a different show now. She had the cheek! She had the audacity to say, I was given, I have the recording. I still can prove that I was being absolutely respectful.
Would you like me to switch on the tape?
Would you like me to switch? I was being as respectful as I possibly could with her stupid directions, and she kicked me off the show. And I was like, you know what? Fine. I do want to do your show anyway. And I got moved to backstage, and backstage was lovely. The cast, lovely. I would have loved working with the cast of Stupid Bird, because, well, I did love the cast, and that was the only reason I was going to stand doing that. But yeah, the cast of backstage was lovely. The script was good. It was a 3-hour long show, which was, oh boy, but it was really fun actually. I spent this whole time talking about a show that I didn't even do.
Yeah.
I just realised that. But yeah, backstage was a good show. It was about the backstage shenanigans of. It's a show about people making a show. So you get to see like the rehearsal progress and people making stuff like the costumes and the props and whatnot. And the show keeps going wrong and people keep sabotaging it.
Yeah.
There's one character which we kept going, "Do not react. You are the saboteur." Someone almost dies in it. There's a ghost. And it's a musical. And what was so impressive about it was that one of the actresses in there, she wrote original songs and music for the show. Yeah, it was so impressive. And the songs were beautiful, by the way. Absolutely gorgeous. But, yeah, we had a lot of trouble with the microphones. You know how you were mic'd up?
Yeah.
Everyone was mic'd up for the show. And if they got too close together or too close to the speaker, there was interference. Yeah.
Wow.
And there's bits where, while having a microphone on, they're like getting intimate with each other and like hugging and whatnot. And yeah, how to ruin a romantic moment. And there was bits where, like, there was a bit in one show, 3 people's microphones turned off. Like they got basically, there's a plug, and while they're changing, they unplugged it. So they come backstage and I have to plug them back in, fix their microphones during the show. Honestly, though, yeah, it was really fun. Me and we really enjoyed it to the point that said that he almost regrets picking drama level 6. He wished he did performing arts level 6. I think that's just because the actors were more our age, but
more.
You're
our
younger.
level of banter.
Yeah. But there was drama backstage.
Which we have history with.
Backstage was it was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But it would, like, I didn't perform in it, so I'm not sure if it should be ranked as high as everyone did that. But I did thoroughly enjoy making the show.
Yeah.
So,
was it more enjoyable than breaking a sweat?
Yes. You know what? I feel like I want to put backstage in C tier and breaking a sweat in D.
I was thinking swapping the two.
Yeah. I think that's what I do. Individual
show.
show.
Go in the order it went in.
Yeah, so it went 1, 2, 3. So we'll start with.
This is a tale of the individual showcase.
So yeah,
it was the first module we were actually working on.
First module at uni, yeah, and
basically, the idea of the module was we would each perform our own individual performance, and we were allowed to pick any script, I think. Well, it had to be a stage script. And give it some individual magic. So my idea was based off this performer who we watched, who visited the college in HNC, was it?
Yeah.
HNC,
I don't know.
Basically, it was like a one-man show thing where there'll be one man playing all different characters with just very little subtle changes to
so he would get
identify different characters.
He would get like a hat or put on a scarf, or you would get like a pipe.
Yeah.
And he would just change his like mannerisms and the way he talked to instigate his different character. It was very good. And basically, individual showcase, like the name suggests, we had to do a 10-minute one-man show.
Yeah.
10 to 12 minutes, thereabout.
Or,
so
basically each person had to be like, so So if there were people in,
Yeah, you could have other people in the
but they
show,
won't be graded.
but yeah, they weren't getting graded for it, and you had to be the main focus of your piece.
yes,
So yeah, talking about the start.
I remember how it started. I remember we were assigned with a mystery box. It was kind of like Taskmaster.
Yeah, I remember that.
I think this was where we realised what we had signed ourselves up for joining Uni Level 6. We had to come up with a short performance based off what we found in the box. And we were also given a short
News article.
where to, or have the performance based around.
Yeah.
And we're only given half an hour to work on it. And my brain was having none of it. It was in overthinking overload.
Yeah.
It was like until like the last minute where I decided to come up with an actual script or something. And then when it came to actually performing it, I was doing that thing in my head where this actually doesn't make much sense as I had written beforehand, and I was like, sort of freezing up, but still carrying on. Like, I'll just get this over with.
I remember
Heavily walked off.
I remember my box was like a very thin like scarf or something, and a piece of fabric really, and then it was about like being environmentally friendly and whatnot, and I managed to turn that into a piece about like a 2-minute piece about how a car manufacturer would react when they're told that they're no longer allowed to make petrol cars. So he's there and he's like, "What do you mean we have to do electric? How's a AA battery meant to power a car?" And he's like over panicking and whatnot, and it was just. But yeah, we had to do the most annoying thing about the individual showcase was that we were told we have to create a 10-minute piece, and I was like, "Oh yeah, great!" I came up with so many ideas of like, "Oh, I could do this." Like one of them was like, "Oh, I could do a interview with a criminal," and like you're locked in a insane asylum, and it's like the interview with like Tiberius type of deal, or interview with Limpy, where like the interviewer would be sat in the audience with the camera, and he'd be talking to the audience, and he would be like explaining why he like killed people or whatnot.
Yeah.
And then another one was like a detective solving a mystery and whatnot, kind of based off the inspector from Santa's Winter Meltdown.
Yeah.
And he's like solving the mystery.
Actually,
and
you know what? That would be quite a good play. Having the detective from the murder mystery trying to solve the slasher murder mystery of Limpy.
do a crossover.
I think that would be great. Yeah, trying to uncover who Limpy is.
Well,
Anyway,
you might have given away the plot of the Limpy too.
well, spoilers.
Anyway, but yeah, it had to be based off a pre-existing text, which I wasn't a fan of. And I was thinking about doing the Antov Chekhov, what is it, Dangerous Tobacco?
Yeah.
But that was the last performance I did, so that was just going through my head. And it's like, I've already done this. So I was thinking, and then I didn't know what else to do, so I picked Mugged by Andrew Payne. And I combined elements of the dialogue and the story in Act 1 with the monologue at the end. It was fun. You got SpongeBob stuff?
Yes, Patrick.
Patrick Star.
Anyway.
I got boring.
Well,
Grey and white stuff. Yeah, so I combined those two elements together. So the monologue at the end from the character Dig. Basically, character Dig, he has a best friend called Marky. Marky gets killed. It's his fault. Because he was crushing over a girl. So I played that, and I had to make it comedic. That was the thing. It was like, this is a sad piece. And my lecturer was saying, "Oh, make it a bit more comedic," and I didn't agree with her at first, but then looking back, it made sense because most of the play was comedic.
Mm.
The bit where I broke down and started just bawling my eyes out really had an impact.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, the twins saying to me, like, they actually thought I was crying. I was like, okay, thanks. But yeah,
Great actor.
Thank you. I'm such a great actor. But yeah, I just, it was just the reason I didn't like Mugged as a choice. I do enjoy the play, and it has a special place in my heart. But I did it for secondary school. I already knew the lines. It wasn't anything new for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't challenging. I didn't challenge myself, which is why I regret picking it. But I did enjoy my performance, and I did enjoy the end result. I just wish I picked something different. Yeah, something a bit newer.
Yeah.
And something more comedic, to be honest, because I've done a lot of, like, serious acting or sad stories. I just wish I did something a little more.
Kind of the opposite, because I had done a lot of comedic or comic relief characters for like college, and I was kind of like, I want to do something different, or the opposite, and well, it kind of happened, but not.
Well, you did with the funeral,
Yeah.
and I guess with the newcomer.
Eventually, yeah, it was a lot more like serious.
I don't know where I want to put Mugs, because this show did go well, but I don't feel like it should be ranked as high as the other two in individual, personally.
You think?
Especially like yours in particular, I think is like A tier. So I think maybe B. I mean, it's still Mugs after all.
Also, we had to sort of do little tech roles, so we'd also be signed up to help with others' individual acts.
Yeah, because
I was helping you, but
you were my ushers, and he was my lighting.
That was hard to do.
And we were also ushers in his, which we'll get to in a minute. But let's talk about yours.
I did One Man, Two Governors, which is a...
Which is A! It's A tier. Well, which is A. Excellent, we've just...
That's all, folks. I can tell you, like, the premises of it.
Yep.
So, a man who has the monologue I perform, reveals... so this guy called Henshaw, Tommy Henshaw? I'm gonna have to... Basically, he was recently, fired from his skiffle band and needed money for, like, food. Came across this governor called Roscoe Crab, who is in disguise, who's actually the main character's sister, who they think is dead, I think. And the second governor, who you play,
Stanley Stubbs.
Stanley Stubbs, I think, was the person who... It was something between them.
I didn't know this.
Basically, the idea was... so my character would be working for the two governors, but the two governors wouldn't know that I'm working for...
Yeah, he's trying to hide the
another
fact that he's working for two governors.
So there were moments where he gets all confused, and he's like... So there was a line that says, Henshaw, have you got my trunk out? And it says, like, oh, I've already got your trunk out. Nope. Don't worry, Roscoe. I'll get it for you in a jiffy, because...
You need this letter of authorization. I've already got one of those. I don't need two, do I?
So the two governors had the same equipment as well. So the other governor would ask for these errands for him to run, which he's already been asked to, go on and do. It was very fun to perform as well. Also, like with your mugs, it was kind of one I had performed before.
Yeah. Well, you did it as a audition, but you never performed it.
No.
But you were familiar with the script.
Yes. Because I remember they said, which one should you do? I was like, and then they said the Shakespeare. So I went with that one instead. I do recommend to watch it, and it has a very fun soundtrack.
I have to watch it then.
Remember there was that lesson where we'd have to
Yeah.
we had to bring in a piece of music and then sort of move in the feeling of the music, and then you have to analyze it in a way, and I picked one of the songs from the play.
Yeah. It was a very... I just pictured like someone busking
Yeah.
outside with a guitar. So that's what I did. The whole song. It was very...
It was definitely the most proud performance I'd done at uni. I was like, that felt good. And based off audience reaction and I guess the overall performance as well.
And audience participation.
Yeah, a little bit. And we did sort of work our way around that. So if it doesn't happen, then how will we do it? So basically, there's a moment where I asked people from the audience ideas, and then, well, if that doesn't work, then ask someone at the front, what's your last name? Funny enough, it was our lecturer from college who I asked.
Yeah, she came to see the show. Ah, that was brilliant.
I thought, oh well, we'll go with that. And I stuck with it. And I don't think the audience really knew that was actually her last name, but it worked. And I remember watching it back, and so the moment where I go, you don't suppose there's a discarded bag of chips, and you sort of throw the bin away. You could see the twins sort of jump in shock when I kick the bin.
Oh, that just reminded me of my piece. I absolutely kicked the bin straight into the back wall, so away from the audience. Every time I did that, huge dent where I kicked it.
Yeah,
the whole bin just went
caved in,
and I had to fix it because then it gets used in your piece.
I remember
I'm making that gravestone
during the bit where I fight myself. I had to choreograph that.
That was funny.
And I don't think they realised there was a crash mat behind.
No, because it was black and it blended in.
Did the elbow drop. You could just hear Sue chuckling at the end of that.
Yeah.
Like,
That
went well.
Where does it rank?
I might put it A.
I think A, to be honest.
And then it was.
Yeah, well, we don't have much to say on it's purely because we're not. So, but we were in it, and we, I played like a very minor role in yours, where I came on, said a few lines, and then walked off. Whereas in we were on for the whole.
You're essential character, but weren't there for.
Yeah, we were much more supporting roles.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were on for the whole thing. I enjoyed the work dynamic, but I think it was little bit
just the improv that was kind of because we had to come up with little improv or topics to just talk about in between actual,
which would then also segue into his big dialogue bits.
Yeah.
So that would we eventually got something, and I was so mad because we did like fish and chips, but it was like an innuendo, and none of the audience got that. And I was like, "Come on, why didn't you get that?" It's like maybe we should have picked something funnier. Or, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
But-
because I don't know. I think it was just the improv stuff that was just tricky because kind of could do it normally, but when we're actually trying to perform it, you don't know if there's going to be the same reaction as we would have together.
I mean, basically we improv'd it a few times, and then we got like basically a running order of like, okay, we're gonna say this, but we didn't have a concrete script, so we didn't know what we were gonna say really, and then yeah, it just became. But I do think it went well. We did get a lot of laughs. I just yeah, I don't know. Wish we had a little bit more time to maybe come up with something a little bit funnier. But then at the same time, we weren't supposed to take attention away from the main focus. So if we did something elaborate and funny, we couldn't have. Yeah, I don't know. He didn't even pick the script. He got given it. So
Yeah, because he was going to do one about wrestling at first.
yeah, he had multiple. He had one where he was like a kids presenter with a puppet, and I have a puppet, so I was going to give him my puppet. Yeah. Eventually, he was given this. So again, I can't really say because I'm not, so I don't know where to put it.
I think this is the hardest one because I remember when we finished, I was like, it was good. We did a good job, but I guess I'll say about the audience reaction. As well.
Yeah, the audience did not really react
No.
to this one at all.
I guess I could just, if I were to describe it, it's kind of like some kind of office scene.
Yeah. 3 people working in an office,
There
and
was
then
like
the
the
machine's
interview
broken.
moments with, Riley, and then the actual office scene with the three of us.
Yeah.
There's, I don't know.
He's not here to say where he would put it.
What do you think he would say?
Maybe C. Put it with backstage.
Yeah.
I think he would put backstage higher. But I think because C is still really good. Let's not everything. I'd say C and above is good. D is like it's alright, It's E and F you don't want to be in.
I think that's the order I would have put them in. I think.
The newcomer. So this is also acting for camera. This is the one, the last one we did.
Yeah, we finished that last week.
Last week, I got the footage back as well and watched it, and they edited it for us. They got the multi-cam footage back. Yeah, so.
And we also
really
were
good.
working with.
Yeah,
Who was that a director from the BBC?
yeah.
I enjoyed working with him. Actually.
He was good. Although one thing I would say is that because we just did theatre, our minds were very theatre. Or at least my mind was very theatre. So my facial expressions, he kept telling me, "All right, can you tone it down with the facial expressions?" And I'm like, "Okay, tone it down." And I did. Because I'd done a lot of serious active camera, I really wanted to make this one a lot more comedic, but with direction, I made it, and it ended up being a lot more mature, serious.
Yeah,
which is it's fine, but I wanted to do a little bit more, something a little bit more comedic to add to my resume. But
I think I enjoyed this script more than the funeral, or I enjoyed the scenario more.
Yeah.
At first, I imagined it a bit like Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
We weren't in the same filmed piece.
We were split into different groups for this one.
Yeah, I was working with.
I was with, and I think the idea was so the DC, what's the name? Yeah, we thought the newcomer was
This new covers the boss.
yeah.
So we got a new boss, and we've done something a little bit risky. We've read a file.
Sort of gone behind,
Well, you've read a file, and then you've told me, and I'm like, oh my days, I can't believe you've done that. And then I'm basically backing him up. Like, we both did it, yes. And then we basically get told off. But basically, it's like there's a rotten detective or police officer in the building, and we're trying to find out who it is.
So, as if we were just trying to find evidence to back this lead up. At first, it reminded me of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the character, because I remember. Now, something I learnt in this module is don't add line or ad lib.
Don't ad lib in acting for camera.
I know Chris Hemsworth does it, and there's some.
Well,
you can get away with some improv, I guess, if you have asked the director first.
Or multicam, definitely can. But in when it's like multiple shots, you can't. They have to link it up.
So the original lines went, recognize this, Frank. It's a file, Mum. I know it's a file. However, because I was thinking of Brooklyn Nine-Nine or what was his name?
Jake Peralta?
Yeah. So I would add something like, I'm no expert, but that's a file, Mum. Or,
I'm no expert, but that looks like a file, Mum.
Wow, it's a file, Mum.
Yeah,
so and sort of sarcastically.
And I kept saying, unintentionally, my last line is, maybe she's not such a dead loss. But I kept accidentally saying, maybe she's not such a dead loss after all. I kept getting told off for adding after all.
It's actually the worst last line. It still makes sense.
Yeah, but you gotta be very precise because
yes.
But I loved the setup. I loved the being filmed in front of multi-cameras. It was very quick.
And I think it was just also getting back into the comfort of the script as well, and trying to remember some of the movements because we had just come off the back of. We did
the show we're about to talk about. Yeah,
we did get a month break from after we did our last show stage show.
Yeah.
But
the last time we rehearsed it was like 2 months ago, so it was like you rehearsed it 2 months ago. 2-month break. All right, now go film it.
Okay.
Okay, let me remember what we did.
And when we're doing it, and trying to be a bit more serious, it also reminded me of the series Life on Mars, which is also like a police detective series.
Right.
I think you'd enjoy it. It's on BBC or ITV, I think.
It's on ITV.
But it's also on Netflix.
It's on Netflix?
Yeah, I recently finished watching it. Very good.
I'll go check it out.
Basically, this detective in modern day sort of case gets injured or run over, and I think he's in a coma, but in his head, the operation he's got, he's sort of living in the past in 1973. And he doesn't know if he's going mad or dead or and trying to figure out how to get back home.
Right.
It's very good. I won't.
There's a show actually I was watching called Bodies. I've only watched like the first 2 episodes, but it's really good. And basically, the exact same body appears in the exact same place in 3 different time periods. So one is in 1890, one's in 1941, one's in 2024, and the other is in 2051.
Yeah.
Exact same body, murdered in the exact same way, appeared just out of nowhere, just and the exact same victim, and there's this huge like elaborate cover-up that's happening throughout all of the time periods.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's going on here? And I haven't finished it, but it's as a start, it's very good.
Yeah. Also, the character in Life on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
The main character is called Sam Tyler. He kind of tried to go off his own way on cases, like this is the best idea, or sort of
Right, yeah.
Doesn't
play by the books type of guy.
Not by the time, not by that department's rules, or not the way they do it.
Yeah.
And I guess that sort of reminded me of this script, sort of going behind the department's back and trying to find stuff behind.
Where do we think the newcomer goes?
I mean, it did also suffer the same problem, which was grammar. Remember? What's the line? Someone's covering up Brinks' tracks, otherwise why restrict information? It could have been just someone is covering up Brinks' tracks.
That's why he'd been held back. It's just like, yeah, he has the file, this physical file has his prints on the computer. How does that work?
Yeah, the file has his prints
on the computer.
The computer has his.
You see, that bit didn't make sense to me. But yeah, what can you do?
The file's prints, no. Also, I was thinking of how I would have done the boss as well.
Yeah.
Like, recognize this, Frank.
I think,
more.
Yeah, Russ, was it Rusko? I think the character's name?
Russell. D.I. Russell. C.I.D. Yeah, D.C.I. Russell.
C.I. Russell, I think. But yeah, I was thinking, like, if I was that character, I would have been, like, cheerful up until the point where it's like, oh, really? Well, you should know, because you are just reading it! Like, the sudden switch. To be like, so it's like, here's an Anton deck. My favorite boys. Do you recognize this, Frank? It's a file. Yeah. I know it's a bloody file, but whose file is it? Oh, well, you should know, because you are just reading it!
Where would it go?
B?
Yes.
Thingy B?
Yeah. And last, but certainly not least.
Are you sure about that?
Certainly is persistent. It's persistent illusion.
The Persistent Illusion was our last theatre performance, the last show we worked on together.
What can we say?
Well, there's two aspects, well, there's three aspects we could look at it. One, the essay. Two, the production, like the first 2 months of production. And then three, the actual performance itself. So, which one do you want to cover first?
Let's start with the essay.
The essay. Part of the unit was doing an essay on semiotics.
If you don't know what semiotics are,
Here's a definition.
It's the study of signs, but not road signs, like a stop sign.
Except that is part of semiotics.
I suppose. But
everything
specifically, sort of, I guess, metaphorical signs.
Yeah, alright, so semiotic is how we interpret things into meaning something else. So, for example, if you see a red light, you interpret that red light as meaning stop. And then you, yourself, in the car, stop the car at the red light. You've semiotically seen, it's just a red light, it means nothing, but you semiotically seen that, interpreted it as, oh, I must stop my car, and then you've actually stopped your car. And that's semiotics. And then the whole essay was, how is semiotics like used in theatre good, or I don't know, it's about semiotics in theatre. And I spent the entire time ranting about how it's basically useless. It's not useless. I said that other than its use in suspension of disbelief, semiotics can be used in theatre for suspension of disbelief or to help audiences convey a story. However, outside of the creating process or suspension of disbelief, there is no reason for semiotics to be used in theatre, because a lot of the time, apart from like serious theatre goers, most semiotic signs or subtle story hidden elements will go right over audiences' head. So there's no point in putting it in, especially if it was crucial for understanding the play. If it's crucial for understanding the play, you got to make it obvious to the audience. There's no point making it subtle. So you might as well not include it. And that was my whole essay. I was just ranting about how much I basically don't like semiotics. Like it is important and it's neat. It is a nice thing, but I feel like it's more important to film than to theatre, because in film you can rewatch it, or like a TV show, you can rewatch it and pick up on the semiotic signs that you missed. And I feel like with theatre, especially our show, there's a lot of semiotic signs in it, but you have to rewatch the show to pick up on the signs. But as a theatre production, hardly anyone's going to be rewatching the same production and then being like, oh, I see the signs now. I see that. Most people, or general theatre audience, like me and you, will go and watch a show once because that's all you can afford, or there's no point watching the same thing twice, unless you're Robin. He's watched Heathers about 8 times. But yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll let you explain the rest of the essay.
What
was your...
Oh, so there was a day where we had to have a sort of debates about whether it's useful or not.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh, man.
If someone slams a door in your face, it means they don't want to talk to you.
I remember, because the way I pictured the debate going was we'd go in a line each time, not jumping in snappily, if you get what I mean. So I thought we'd go first pair, second pair, and then again like that, not suddenly all jumping in, which is why because I did have more than just that to say, but I didn't know when to
cut in, and the conversation went way out of topic because
they weren't relevant to what we're currently talking about, so I was stuck.
So we're split into 2 sides, and it was this side agrees with semiotics, and this side disagrees with semiotics. And I was on the side that disagree, which helped for my essay, to be honest. And yeah, I had a whole paragraph written about Shakespeare. I can't remember it now because I burned that paper. But yeah, it was just me.
I mean, I don't know if I was proud of when I said that.
So basically, it was like, okay, one person from against, one person from before. Yeah. We went down the line like that, saying a argument for for and against, and then when everyone had said something, we opened it up for open discussion.
I remember, I think when we were just going, I was like, I don't feel like I'm taking this seriously. The way I stood up as well, I was like, as if we were just entering like the face-off
rap battle
of a boxing match or something. I was up against Cam. I was like, right, he's probably gonna have a lot to say.
He had so much to say.
So I was like, right, I'll just say this.
Him and Phil
because
did a lot of research.
I guess I could just say this now. It's over now anyway. So there was a meeting where I think it was when we were working on Sant Emporium, and because they were in the same group, they were trying to think of stuff to talk about. So yeah, they had a lot to discuss. A lot to do with the film. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's set in like World War II.
Okay.
And there's like this little girl in it. It's like all the colours black and white apart from this girl
who's
got a red coat.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the film's called. But yeah, they had that. And I think they did bring it up. But yeah, the thing I brought up was if a door is slammed in someone's face, that means they don't want to talk to you no more.
That semiotically suggests that they are not happy with you and don't want to talk to you.
Was I wrong?
No. But
I had more to talk about with doors as well.
yeah.
I could have just brought that up. Like, I have more door talk.
I played a lot of Devil's Advocate in that discussion. I was just listening to because there's so much research on why semiotics is important, and there's hardly anything on against it. So my whole argument was getting arguments from afar and just twisting them and being like, yeah, but is it necessary? My whole argument and my essay was just, yeah, you can do that, but why? Is it important? Is it necessary? And the answer's no.
Doors in horror. Doors in horror. And like, because in my essay, I talk a lot about the One in Black film.
Yeah.
Now, there's one room that is locked for the majority of the film. It's like, oh, what's on the other side? Ooh, signs.
I say signs. That, but I used semiotics was a huge part of my dissertation.
Yeah.
When I edited one film into 4 genres, and then I asked people,
lukewarm water, delicious.
Like, if they could. Yeah, but anyway.
Anyway, that was the essay.
That was the essay. Pretty bad. F tier. Don't like semiotics.
No.
Then we have, of course, the creating process, and we have the show itself.
I have many comments I just randomly wrote down about the bad and the good sides of.
Do you have that list?
Yes, I do.
Put it up. So, for creating the persistent illusion, it was Oh, no. All right. We'll start from the beginning. We're split into 3 groups.
The idea was about.
We're split into 3 groups, and we're given an object each, and we had to come up with a theatre idea to present to the rest of the class. Matt, what was your thing?
Ours was this. How would you describe the genre?
It was a
rotarily
dial.
When it sets in like the future, a bit like
no, your object was a phone.
Oh yeah, that.
It was a rotary dial phone. You know that thing. If you played That's Not My Neighbor, that's the type of phone you get.
So ours was the idea we had was this psychedelic TV show called Living in a Box, where a member of the audience will be picked at random, and it was kind of like the Hunger Games sort of way. So they will be picked into this random picker.
Yeah.
They'll be brought into this box. The idea was that time, space, and reality in general moved separately from the real world in the box. So you could be in this box, which was I kept describing it as like Pandora's box, or just a void, or just the void where how Doctor is just the void in between space and time.
Yeah.
And he could have been in there for like
he doesn't know how long.
5 minutes, half an hour, a day, and maybe a week or 2 weeks, a month could have gone by.
A year, no one knows.
And there'll be this. You'd start having hallucinations, and be seeing this figure called the Illusion, who would, in a way, sort of guide this prisoner or member in the game show and sort of guide him to survive this ordeal and try and get out.
Yeah,
That was basically it.
that was his group. My group had a box with a key in it. So of course, the most logical explanation or course of action, of course, coming from this is dystopian Mars.
Not to show the magic key. I remember that.
James and Jamie had the magic key.
You remember the Biff, Chip and Kipper?
Biff, Chip, and
Was it Kipper?
I think it was
Biff, Chip and...
and Floppy the dog.
Yes.
Yep.
Why did we do that?
So the story was we were on Mars in the future, and this person called Aurora Schrodinger, that's an important name, and Artemis Schrodinger, and Artemis is a wizard on Mars. Now, Aurora is very big on technology and
Improving society.
Artemis did a spell where he brought down a box, and the box had a key, and it crashed into someone's car and knocked them out, and then the car ends up running him over and killing him.
Don't forget the parrot.
And there's a parrot on Mars in this dystopian future. The thing is, in particular, he did so much research, he did so much lore building. So much lore building into this Mars. We designed and like the economy, this city where
society,
everything, like entertainment and like sick entertainment that mocks them. We have the poor people at the top of the volcano that harvest the water and sends it down in pipes.
The bottom end
The
people.
bottom.
I guess you call them the nomads, sort of like trying.
Yeah, then we have the nomads in the middle who. There was so much lore
There's like classes of society, so it's like
did
a higher.
not get explained at all in the show because there was just too much. And I was like, we're writing a TV show worth of, backstory here.
It's sort of like the situation of ours. And last
Yeah, it was so much. And then the last group had a typewriter, and they created
sort of like a fairy tale.
So it was a bunch of stories, and then when the story goes haywire, they screw it up, they start a new story. But it's the same characters. And we presented all these ideas to our director, and they went,
Let's have all three.
yeah, let's do all three. Oh, honestly, I still think, personally, I'd love your Living in a Box, but I think it should have been a TV show. It would have made a fantastic TV show. I think for theatre production, we went all out on the book group. Would have been brilliant.
There was more characters in there.
Yeah, we could have done
all the characters in the universe could then, meet or meet. Exactly as how it did in the end.
And
get too shortly.
The problem was we were all writing. We're all writing in our separate groups, our separate stories.
Yes.
And the only thing we knew is that we had to cross them over at some point before the end of Act 1.
But we didn't know when we would
make
that crossover.
There was nobody knew. So our group, the Mars group, we decided that before Act 1 ends, we were kicking all of our characters out of Mars. We came up with a portal in a cave, and it was the cave changed so many times. Originally, it was like, this is the doorway between. There's like a corridor with so many doors, and it leads to all the different dimensions. Then it changed to there's just one door, and if you use a different key on the door, it takes you to a different place. That got scrapped to you have a certain tattoo on you, you place your arm on a particular spot, and portal opens up. It's like, okay, that's what we're going with now. But yeah, we ended up kicking all of our characters out of Mars, basically to be like, all right, your two groups now have to figure out what to do with these characters. Here you go. That's it. You have to incorporate these characters into your stories now. the book group was very separate. Like, I don't think the Mars characters didn't really cross over with them until the very end of the story.
Apart from Kate, not Kate.
Tibet.
Character.
Yeah, Tibet was in. Yeah. And like one of them, yeah. I
feel like everyone in the Living Abroad died. Well, they did really.
Everyone died. Like the problem is we kept writing our own separate stories. Then we argued over what the ending was going to be. Didn't know what the ending was going to be. Kept writing, and then
didn't know what the box actually.
We didn't know what the box was. We didn't know what the key unlocked. We didn't know who the creator of everything was. We didn't know what the ending was going to be. There were so many arguments about what the ending was going to be.
We'll get to that.
And then it came to the point where we had to write this script and put it together. And then we had to, when we were performing it, we're realizing, well, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense because we've written it separately. So then we had to backtrack, rewrite it, different scenes, segments, and then I really don't like the ending, to be honest with you, but you got more to say before we get onto that.
There's something I was going to talk about, but I think that should be saved for the actual performance segment of it.
Can we move on to performance segment?
No, it's okay. I was going to bring up this
list. Yes. Go with your list.
We'll start with the positives.
Mm-hmm.
Each story would make a great show or series on their own.
There's a keyword. Key keyword to that.
3 words. On their own.
Yeah.
Number 2. Everyone given a substantial role in the end.
In the end.
Originally, we didn't know what character you were going to be performing.
Yeah, we wrote so in our heads, or at least our group's head, we were writing a play to then just the idea was, what we thought it was in our group, is we wrote the play and then we auditioned for someone else's play. So like, oh, we're the directors of Mars segment because we wrote it. Mm-hmm. And then we get like the book group or the TV group to be cast in ours. Apparently, that's not what everyone else did. Apparently, what everyone else did was they were writing themselves into their own scripts.
Mm.
We didn't do that. So we cast other people in ours, which then led to the fact that I didn't have a role in any of the shows because I didn't have a role in Mars because there was very few characters. I didn't, and then of course I didn't have a role in any of the other 2 groups because I'm not in the other 2 groups. So I just straight up didn't have a role for the majority of the making of it. And then one of the people dropped out, and I ended up being the Doctor.
Yes.
In Living in a Box, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I did love that role, but it does get me thinking. Like, if he hadn't dropped out,
who would you have been?
Who would I have been? Because, oh boy,
the parrot.
Oh, I'm gonna say it now. I did not like the parrot. Because I did not like the Mars story. I was like, I got on board with it like later on as we started developing it. Because when we first initially came up with the Mars idea, I was like, how are you supposed to put this on a stage? What are we making? And then it was just like, I can't remember who suggested it, but like one of them was just like, what if they had a sidekick, like a parrot? A cyberpunk parrot on Mars, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna lose it. The parrot dies, by the way. He goes through a portal and you never see him again.
That was one of the questions. So, literally, like, the next week, I think, after the show, I went to the Fencing Society. Oh, there's a bonus one we had to put in.
What?
The stage combat.
That wasn't a show. But if it was S tier.
We can probably talk about that as well.
Yeah.
Or if we just round up with what we thought of Union Yen, or we'd save for another episode.
I think we'd save that like uni life for another episode.
Yeah. Where was I?
Substantial role.
Yes. Next, exposition. I mean, I'm happy with some exposition, but I might also have the negative as there was too much exposition.
There was a lot, especially the second to final scene of the show was just full exposition dump after exposition dump after exposition dump. Because again, we didn't know what was going on, and then we had to explain everything in the final scene. So the audience is getting hit with waves of exposition.
Next, I can't remember what this word meant. Allusion. Anyway, next.
Alludes.
Okay.
So, almost like it foreshadows. There's a lot of foreshadowing and alluding to what's going to happen later on. Coco, you can have cheeseburger. That can't move. So, there we go. Okay.
Well.
Okay. Bless you. You're reading.
Oh yeah. Next, tension. Or some tension. Some.
Some.
Where would there have been tension? I suppose the life living in a box.
Yeah.
You know, trying to get him to escape, which I think could have been cooler. Or, you know,
Well,
we'll probably get to that as well when we talk about the overall show. Yeah. Next, point of view. I can't remember what else.
The fact that it has 3 different points of view from 3 different characters and 3 different worlds.
Yeah. You get to see what they're sort of seeing and feeling a lot.
Yeah.
And what they're going through. Some characters developed. Some.
Not every character had character. I mean, I guess my character. Did my character have character development, or was he always a secret agent? Because he was trying to help number 7. It's not like he changed his mind. Because him changing his mind came off screen or before the even performance.
I think, now I'm thinking about it, if you wouldn't have been the Doctor, you might have had to be the robot. Remember that robot you played?
Yeah, I was already going to be the boss.
Oh, okay.
I would have been probably the GCP guard and the character plays for Schrodinger's person.
Oh yeah, the last. We know it's a show of a script, but now we're just having fun with it and giving it our best.
Yeah, that was like when we got to the intensive weeks, and that was actually enjoyable. When the script finally came together, when we finally fixed and ironed out all the kinks, we performed it, we had our roles, then it became enjoyable. Then it was actually quite fun, and I really did. Like, the first few months of production, writing the script, I hated it, but once it was written, and once we were actually doing it, I thoroughly enjoyed the making of it. And the performing of it.
Yeah, so I remember there was that one quite intense or awkward moment. I think we just come off the back of a rehearsal day, and I think it was during the noir scene, and I think something just wasn't making sense, and then sort of the or like a disagreement, and then Sue went to change bits of it, so not a bit, just a lot changed. Anyway, I've got negatives now.
Let's go.
Took way too long finishing the script.
100% agree with that.
So I think the deadline was like end of January or start of February.
It was, like end of January. We had to be finished writing the script, and we didn't finish writing it till about beginning of March.
I thought it was after that.
I
I think. Way too late though.
Way too late, yeah. We spent way too much time writing it. And I still think we should have picked one idea, which I still think should have been the book group, and just gone with that. Because, like, imagine all the things you could have had extended scenes in each one. You could have had more characters. That, like, some of them are okay with just living the life normal, like this, chaotic. You can have characters that get erased, and then, like, the main character's like, wait a minute, this character's missing. It's like, no, he's not. He was never here to begin with. And I was, like, thinking, we could have had one where, like, we could have played on more genres if the play was longer.
Yeah.
And, like, I really wanted to do a musical section where, like, the main character's like, what's going on? When he's realizing the world's broken. And because then, of course, like, in a musical, everyone starts singing and dancing and no one bats an eye. But of course, if you're realizing the walls are coming apart and you're like, why is everyone singing and dancing? What's going on? I don't understand. I just thought it'd be funny. That's what I really, really wanted to do that.
This one, next. Character development techniques. As in, we didn't really do many.
Yeah. We didn't do any character development stuff. We had to do it while reading the script, while performing.
Because, at college we used to do that thing called hot seating.
Yeah.
Where you would be the character in this seat, and everyone else would ask you questions, and you'd basically be performing as the character responding to them questions.
Like an interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just think that would have helped a lot with, like, Illusion, because I struggle to think of who the heck Illusion was. Too reliant on tech. Lots of tech doesn't always account to a good performance.
What I hated most about the actual performance itself was the fact that, like, if you just look on the stage, and all you have is 3 screens. Oh no, you got 2 screens. Got the back wall. That was it. There was no, like, set dressing. There was a few props, but it was like there was no environmental stuff there.
Yeah, there was set.
That was because of our story. It had to be constant, quick changes, but all of the backgrounds are just pictures projected onto a screen.
Digital.
And it was just like, there's so much digital stuff because we started like half the year, like from January to April, doing all this tech, like video editing, image editing, camera work. We built a whole model Mars and filmed it with a model car. Yeah, and that was a nightmare because I did mine where I filmed in her car, and then I cut out her window and replaced it with a Mars background. I had to go through that whole sequence is about 1.5 minutes. I had to go through frame by frame that whole sequence, multiple camera angles, and perfectly cut out every window frame. Perfectly. To make sure everything was good, lined up. And then when I did the video, I then had to match it to so then I had to go through and like, okay, I have to edit this bit needs to be shorter, the key has to turn at precisely 14 seconds in, she has to drive out at precisely 17 seconds in, and then after the crash, we need exactly 3 seconds of black, and then it needs to be a slow fade into on fire under a car. You know, and it's like, we spent a whole day trying to line up these 3 model for, like, we spent weeks, absolute weeks, building and filming and then editing that car crash sequence, and then editing, like, my segment, and then we spent a whole day getting all 3, because we had 3 videos, lining them up perfectly to match each other. It was a minute and a half worth of footage. It was like important footage because it was like it showed Artemis dying.
Yes.
It continued the plot forward with, you know, the vet moving, like running away, which leads her into the Caves of Elsewhere, which leads her into the Noir, which leads her to the end of the show, and Artemis dying to guide Artemis. Now Artemis dying to guide Wilson, so it was important, but it was like, oh my days, so much effort went into that.
The second part of this performance was multimedia, so we had to basically turn it into a digital play as well.
Yeah.
So usually with a traditional play or stage production, there'll actually be, you know, a painted background or, you know, furniture on the stage for the environment. Whereas with this, everything was done on those projection screens. So, yeah, we had to. Oh man, we had to. We had to also discuss with Zill whether multimedia is useful, or do you agree with using it? Our group said no.
I basically turned around and was like, if a theatre production is too heavily involved or reliant, come on, lie down. If it's too reliant on digital media, it therefore just becomes almost cinema.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference between cinema and theatre, and I don't know.
It felt more like a film than a play.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
there was so much problems with the tech aspect, and a lot of people, the entire cast, in fact, can probably agree with saying there were so many issues and problems with it.
Yes, and there are lots you could
Very little reward.
You could mess something up very easily.
You got more there, or should we move on to performance?
I rushed ending.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, basically just, alright, we kind of defeated her in the power of dance.
You think we're joking? We defeated her with the power of dance. Let's move on to the performance aspect.
Yeah, there's too much.
Talking about the ending.
Here. We'll be here for hours.
Yeah. This is already like the longest video I've ever uploaded.
I think in the end it was alright.
It was alright. It was pretty good. Despite the amount of annoyance it was actually doing it, when it came to actually performing it on the day of the show, it was really good.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that I missed the prop, I had a syringe that was meant to pull out of my pocket, just forgot it.
Oh,
This was the first scene. I just ran off stage and grabbed it again and pretended like that was part of the show.
I didn't even notice that.
Nobody noticed, apart from me, and obviously the people on stage who I was supposed to go stage right, ended up going stage left to get the prop and then go stage right.
Yeah.
Poor lost his voice.
Yeah.
So there was a bit where I meant to inject him in the eye, and he screams. Couldn't scream, so I had to scream it for him. But I have to make it different to my regular scream, because I scream in the show as well. So
Wait a minute. That's not the
I had to do a deeper scream, and then my scream was a much more like higher pitch. So yeah, but I really enjoyed like just being backstage and as like almost watching the show. It was really fun.
Also, it was our first time performing on a proper stage.
Yeah, we actually did it in an actual stage, in an actual theatre, the Cheltenham Playhouse. It was just a brilliant environment, and like I got really bored of acting for stage, and I was like, I really want to just do film and TV acting. That's what I want to do. And then I performed on stage, on a real stage for the first time. I was like, now I get it. You know, I get why people enjoy this so much. And the reason why I was getting bored is because, well, at college, we did it every single show in the exact same place.
Yeah,
and I was just
wasn't really.
Yeah, you didn't have that hype of waiting in the wings or watching the show or having the actual audience there. It was like, it was so surreal and so different, that environment. I loved it.
I think also what helped me, because I think I'll also talk about this when we just talk about the year later on. Because I went to see that production Time Machine. They had audience participation in that, and they pointed me out and said, "Come to the stage." I was like, "Okay," and I think that helped me.
I really wanted to be.
It was good fun. I got to eat pizza and
on stage.
Yeah, the guy who called me up said, whispered to me like, "Do this," and I was like, "Okay," and. Yeah, it was good fun, and had a discussion, met them backstage, like, "Hello, remember me?" Yeah, I think that helps to begin with. And I was like, I was sitting there, I was like, you know what? I think I'm okay with this. I had to wear a pure white suit.
You had trouble with the microphone as well.
So we had trouble with the because we didn't understand the illusion really. We were like, well, what was he dressed like? First we thought, maybe like a big long cloak, like some good Dementor or something like that.
Which ended up being the costumes for the Nomads.
Yeah, and we're looking up. Hello, you got an email. Anyway, so we were looking at like different cloaks. So there was this like silver or grey one I tried. Brought outside like, like cool, like Darth Sidious. However, it looks too controversial.
Yeah. It looked a bit. Yeah.
So like, how about a different coloured one?
We tried like a red jacket and whatnot, wasn't it? Red suit jacket.
I picture it as like some steampunk demon bloke person. I don't really know, but
the problem,
some sort of like Studio Ghibli character as well, in a way.
Problem brought up is that he looked too much like the Greatest Showman. That was his concern.
That bad?
But yeah, then they switched it to a pure white suit.
Yeah, because they had the person sorting out the costumes watch us, and it's like, you have a lot of like, you're very active, so would you prefer
like
a nice shiny suit? It's like, yes, I would. However,
would you like a suit?
I thought it was going to be like one of those silky silver ones in my head. Like, ooh, yes.
But it was pure white.
It was a pure white
honest. Honest.
Also, I had problems with my hair.
Yeah, so you had to get your hair gelled back because they kept falling in front of his face.
I realised I'm probably not going to enjoy this. And I remember touching it, I was like, this feels horrible.
Oh, it was like crusty. It was like, because of the gel, his hair ended up like sticking in place like glue. It was very crusty.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
I remember being asked, do you mind doing this? I was like, I remember you could hear my brain like, he's not going to like it.
You're not going to like it. But yeah, and then the microphone kept falling out for you. I didn't get mine.
That was on the second night. At least it was like towards the end where I realised it. I don't remember what happened. Like it was getting loose.
Yeah.
And then when I got off stage, got changed. I noticed it down there. I was like, oh, and then got to the dance bit, and it fell out again.
Luckily, you'd said all your dialogue by that bit, so
Oh yeah,
you didn't need your mic anymore.
I could have just gone. Oh, fuck, my back, my back.
What I found funny for me is my character dies in Act 1. Do not see him again to the second to last scene in Act 2. So I was just chilling backstage for like all of Act 2, sorry. Just completely chilling, just fine. Yeah, I was there.
So, I mean, it wasn't awful in the end, but it definitely wasn't the best.
The creating process was
What let it down?
dreadful, but the actual performance, I think, was absolutely brilliant. Like, actually performing it. The story made no sense.
No.
It was, but, I don't know.
Because I had an idea of, like, it was literally earlier today, of how the Living in a Box was vended is number 7 just going rogue, escaping like some action film with the illusion assisting him, sort of, you know, just
I
the
feel
two
like
of them just trying to escape and just destroying the whole.
Number 7
Studio.
would be the one to not just like try and escape, but he ends up shutting down the show permanently.
Yeah.
But yeah, where do we rank it?
Was it better than Breaker Sweat?
100%.
Do we move Breaker Sweat down there?
You want to put it in
Well,
D
actually,
tier? You think it's C tier?
Tempted.
I think it's better than these two. I think it's honestly, I enjoyed Backstage more than Persistent Illusion, but again, like
It wasn't really.
it wasn't really our show, so I don't feel like I can rank it higher. But
Put in C. But first.
I think C.
Top C.
You don't think B?
Maybe for some reason I was thinking of swapping Persistent Illusion with The Funeral.
Right, so you think what Funeral goes down to C,
Yeah.
Persistent Illusion to B.
Bonus round. We did stage combat. So we did the stage combat week, and we'll probably also talk about this another time, because it was the best week of uni.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we talk about uni.
Luckily, we were doing a fencing routine, and we had to find like a play script. Unfortunately, it couldn't be a film script. Otherwise,
Yeah, it had to be stage play, and we ended up picking
the
Three Musketeers.
Three Musketeers.
We had to adapt it a bit because the dialogue said is actually the Three Musketeers talking to a horde of enemies. So we adapted it to the two musketeers talking to each other in a battle there. And
it worked.
It was really fun. It was so much fun.
That is S tier.
That straight to S. Not even A. Nope. Straight to S.
Yeah.
So here's our ranking of all of our uni shows in the surprisingly the longest video I've ever done for some reason.
There was a lot to rant about.
A lot to rant about. Right, so in F tier, nothing.
Yep.
In E tier, nothing. In D tier, break a sweat.
C.
Don't make me eat cold mash with jam.
Nope.
In C tier, we got Backstage. It was great. We have The Lucky Ones and The Funeral.
B tier.
We got
Dr. Matuti's Scent Emporium.
The Persistent Illusion.
Mugged.
The Newcomer.
One Man, Two Governors.
In A tier, we have.
Oh yeah. One Man, Two Governors.
And in S tier, we got.
Stage Combat.
And that was our ranking of every uni show we've done at uni. Ever.
Yes.
Because we only did 1 year. We're not going back. You can't make me.
No, I'm not doing, what was it called? We do like a bonus year.
No, I'm done.
No,
I'm done
I'm
with
not doing
education.
Especially when
I'm out.
it's with, yeah.
Thank you for watching this video
Thank you
or
for
listening to this podcast episode.
Wherever you are in the world.
Either you watched it or you listened to it. I don't know where. Tune in next time. In like 6 months when I record another podcast episode. Matt, do an outro.